Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through the stories people are talking about and sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. The Gdpr is the biggest change the internet has faced ever, but no one really knows what it means. So, why should you care? We'll tell you why this woman's hijab has caused a political and media fight in France. Indian cricketer Virat Kholi takes on the country's fitness challenge and nabs a high-profile participant. Who is it? And we'll take you to Gaza, where Ahmed joined the locals to see how they're breaking their fast. And top of the newsfeed, and the EU's General Data Protection Regulation comes in tomorrow. Don't know what it is? Take a look at this.
WhatsApp is putting an age limit on users. Instagram is about to let users download their content, and Facebook's now sending notifications about new privacy policies. All of this in the European Union. Wondering why? It's all part of the European Union Data Protection Regulation, the biggest intervention in online privacy ever. Its main purpose is to give users control over their data, letting them know what information is being stored and where and how it's being used. Users also have the right to be forgotten, which allows you to potentially have your data deleted. Meaning, if your high school photos are not of public interest, a controller, let's say Google, will have to erase them at your request. But not only that, the law forbids consent statements that are confusing. They now have to be clear and as easy to cancel as they are to accept. If a misuse of your data could put your rights and freedoms at risk, a data processor has to notify you within 72 hours without undue delay. In other words, if a company like Cambridge Analytica misuses your data and a company like Facebook is aware of it, you must be informed about it within 3 days. So you won't have to wait for a whistleblower and an international scandal to find out. The law also includes something called a subject access request, which means you can send an email to your boss asking for all the emails that refer to you, performance reviews, computer access logs, lists of phone calls to, from, or about you, even the CCTV footage, and all the other private data about you. And your employer needs to send it within 30 days. But what happens if a company breaks the law? Well, it would have to pay a fine of up to $24 million, or 4% of their annual income. Whichever is greater is paid. The data protection law was passed in April 2016 and is due to be enforced by the 25th of May 2018. But the assistant to the European Data Protection Supervisor says the EU doesn't want to do witch hunting.
On the other hand, you have to remember that when the complaints come to the Data Protection Office, the Data Protection Authority has to approach it with the whole toolbox that is given by the General Data Protection Regulation.
The biggest change the new law brings is that it would affect all companies from around the world dealing with data of users in the EU. But if you don't live in this part of the world, there's bad news. You don't get all this protection. Companies around the world aren't willing to offer the same rights, nor are other countries asking them to.
We are more and more surveilled, both by the state and by the other entities that exist on the market. We don't want to live neither in the world of the 1984 by Orwell, but also not the Brave New World by Huxley, where everybody is surveilling everybody.
And in the last few days, you must have noticed getting a few more emails telling you about changes to your privacy settings. Well, the internet has been pretty funny about it. This tweet says, ironic that the GDPR has almost certainly unleashed the biggest torrent of spam in the history of the internet. And this one says, just went to make coffee and my AeroPress advised it had updated its privacy settings. And this regulation of the internet is just the first step. We're going to find more and more restrictions added to cyberspace. The question we must ask is who decides what restrictions are and how far they will go. Let us know your thoughts. Now for a look at what else is trending on social media today. Maryam Pougetoux is causing a new and old media frenzy in France, all because she wore a hijab while being interviewed for a documentary about ongoing student protests in the country. Now, Maryam is president of the Student Union at one of France's top universities. The country's interior minister called her hijab shocking, while the equality minister said it was a manifestation of political Islam. Now, France is staunchly secular. Open displays of religion, be it headscarf, yarmulke or crucifix, are banned in schools and niqabs are banned in public. She called the controversy unjustified and says her hijab had no political function. This is Sally Anderson. She's a New Zealand life coach, and yes, that is a traditional Maori tattoo on her chin. The pictures upset people who are accusing her of cultural appropriation because she's not Maori. Now, this is Sally's husband, Roger Teitai. He is Maori, and he says it's fine and everyone should simmer down. Now, there was some reporting that she'd taken down some of the images in the backlash, but when we looked at her social and business sites today, the images are still there. This is the Indian sports minister doing push-ups and in the process sparking the latest social media trend in India. He challenged cricketer Virat Kholi, who did plank mountain climbers, which, if you've ever done them, are a brutal but brilliant exercise. Kohli then called out Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who duly accepted, as you can see from this tweet. He says he's going to post his video soon, but we know Mr. Modi can do yoga. From these pictures, I don't think he's going to do plank mountain climbers. Now, there are two deadly viruses spreading in two parts of the world. The Ebola virus in Central Africa is causing concern after it was detected in a city of 1 million people. And now the World Health Organization said they're looking at an outbreak of the Nipah virus in southern India. But are they reacting fast enough?
We're really on an epidemiological knife edge here. We're right at the moment where the next 2 weeks will probably tell us, is this going to be an explosive outbreak that expands in these urban centres, spreads to other countries, spreads to major cities, or is this something we're going to be able to control with a combination of good public health measures and the vaccination program?
Now, Kashmir is claimed, partitioned and controlled by two nations, India and Pakistan. It's been a tinderbox for decades and there's frequent violence and protests and deaths. But will it be any different during Ramadan?
India has declared a ceasefire in Indian-administered Kashmir after a recent spell of bloodshed. The 30-day pause by the Indian government covers Ramadan, but the announcement has come with a condition. India will reserve the right to retaliate if attacked by rebels fighting since 1989 for independence or unification of the territory with Pakistan. India has an estimated 500,000 troops in the region. It didn't announce whether the ceasefire will be extended or whether it will hold dialogue with rebels and Pakistan to solve the 7-decade dispute. Pro-independence groups in Kashmir dismissed the ceasefire as a cosmetic step by India.
It's just a pause, killings as far as killing Kashmiris is concerned. The government of India can't just, stop killings for a month and then again, target Kashmiri boys, use pellet guns, maim them, blind them, use tear gas shells, and again start this mayhem after a month. So the bigger question is, what after Ramzan?
The killing of popular rebel commander Burhan Muzaffar Wani in 2016 prompted renewed rebel attacks and public protests against Indian rule as a new generation of rebels challenged India with guns and social media. Since then, India has launched a dreaded cordon and search operation, or CASO, as a permanent military practice that has resulted in casualties on all sides. Now, Kashmiris fear the process of death and destruction of property could resume after Eid.
All right, let's take you around the world for some other stories you need to know this Thursday. Elon Musk has gone on a Twitter rant about the media. He says today's journos are at the mercy of advertisers, and he reckons he's getting a raw deal because his companies don't advertise. So he wants to create a website which will, he say, be a place that the public can rate the core truth of any article and track the credibility score over time of each journalist, editor, and publication. He's thinking of calling it Pravda. That is an interesting choice, as it was the name of the Soviet-era Russian state news agency. He later tweeted saying that maybe the site should be called You're Right, and that he owns the domain name yourright.com. The Twitter-in-chief, President Donald J. Trump, has been told by a judge in New York he shouldn't block people on Twitter. Apparently, that's a violation of their First Amendment rights to participate in a public forum. The judge suggested Mr. Trump try and ignore people rather than blocking them. The app has a mute button for that. But the ruling will not stop Trump blocking if he wants to. It was basically a reminder of the law rather than an injunction which would block him from doing it going forward. Now, these women are dressed as handmaids in reference to Margaret Atwood's book and the current hit show to protest 4 changes to Ireland's abortion law. The country is holding a historic referendum on the matter tomorrow, and people are tweeting under the hashtag #HomeToVote about flying back into the country, like this one. Cost of flights from Hanoi to Dublin, €800. Length of journey, 20 hours. Chance to hashtag repeal the 8th, priceless. Well, that's nearly your lot for today. But before we go, we wanted to take you to Gaza and show you how people living in the occupied territories break their fast. Here's Ahmed.
So look around you, it's Ramadan vibes everywhere. We're here in the Souk al-Zawiya, which is the central marketplace in Gaza. And as you see, it's packed out. Everyone's running around trying to buy some last-minute supplies to break their fast. Spicy Palestinians in Gaza like 2 things so much in Ramadan. The first one is mekhallilat, basically olives, chilies, anything that adds a little bit of spice to the food. And I know, it must sound crazy, right? You're not eating all day and you add a little spice. But welcome to Gaza, fam. And the next one is kharoub. Let me come take you to the kharoub. So guys, 10 minutes left and the race for the kharoub starts. As you can see here, it looks like Coca-Cola, but it tastes nothing like it. It's nice, it's sweet, and it's so refreshing when you come to break your fast. No? It's not sweet?
Yes.
So these guys have very kindly offered us some food to break our fast. It's me here and Yusuf. And Ramadan Kareem. I just want to say something. The people here of Gaza, despite all the problems, despite all the shortages, are the kindest people. The streets are empty, no cars, no people here on the main coastal road of Gaza. Everybody's at home, eating away. So we'll catch up with you in a couple of hours in the night prayers where everyone's gonna hit the mosques. We're here outside the beautiful Hassaina Mosque in Gaza. As you see, the little children are putting out the mats because it's packed out. There won't be any space inside very soon. We'll see everyone here making their prayers. Try to talk to them a bit.
رمضان كريم في خير وبركة والحمد لله شهر فضيل عظيم.
هو في صعوبات هنا في رمضان
لا
الحصار وهكذا؟
بس رمضان كريم مش مشكلة الحصار وأي حاجة مش مشكلة. العبادة عبادة والصيام صيام والصلاة صلاة والحمد لله.
السلام عليكم يا جماعة. رمضان كريم. رمضان كريم. عاملين إيه؟ ممكن تقول لي بقى رمضان معناه إيه بالنسبة لك؟
يعني رمضان هو شهر العبادات، شهر الطاعة، شهر المغفرة، شهر الرحمة. رمضان له أجواء كتير حلوة عندنا في غزة، يعني في شغلات كتير رائعة بتختلف عن باقي الأشهر.
Everybody's leaving the mosque as the night prayers, or tarawih as they call them in Arabic, come to an end. Everyone's gonna go now, find something to eat. Ramadan Kareem, and peace and love from Gaza.
That's good stuff from Ahmed. All right, that's all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again tomorrow.